Welcome to Talk Dirt to Me, where two farmers shatter myths and take on the top issues facing America's farmers. Here's your hosts, Logan and Bobby Lee.
Well, Snowmageddon.
Yeah, the White Death is upon us, or nearly upon us.
It is. Dude, you know, there's been a noticeable temperature drop today. I didn't notice it. I wouldn't have noticed it had I not have been outside, but my builder had come by. He had to get some stuff at the house, and we were standing outside talking. Now, this was at about 10 o'clock, and the sun was out, and so it didn't feel that bad.
Yeah, because it got up into the 30s today.
Yeah.
It was like 17 this morning.
Well, it felt pretty good, and while we were standing out there talking, the sun went behind the clouds, and then like the wind kind of picked up, and that's what me and him both were like, dude, it's got to be it's a 5 to 10 degree difference right now.
Well, yeah, just that sun going in, but yeah, because it was real. I mean, it was a beautiful morning. I was doing YouTube filming, and I thought, man, it's a beautiful day. It's cool, but beautiful, and I guess that's all that cloud cover moving in, because snow is supposed to get here about
midnight,
midnight, and then I think they said the peak of it around sunrise tomorrow is when the heaviest was going to be coming down. So, and
you said your kids are already out of school.
They went ahead and made the decision already. Which I knew it was only a matter of time, because it's 100% chance. It's just a matter of how much. Some people saying 4 to 6. I've seen 6 to 8. We're kind of right on the edge when you look at the map of where they're shading it as 6 to 8 versus 4 to 6. So,
today I heard 10.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, they were saying, "Oh yeah, locally." Well, and actually, one map had us circled, and we were dead in the middle of it. Said local, heavier accumulations possible locally or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna snow. But it's not gonna be brutally cold.
No, it's gonna be just pretty much just cold enough to keep the snow around for a little bit. And
yeah, I'm hoping. Yeah, Sunday is supposed to be in the 40s. Hopefully, it'll be mostly melted by then and business as usual by start of next week.
Yeah. I was actually going to get the studio was going to be moved this morning, but it was still, man, the ground has just been soggy. That day that we had a couple days here where it had snowed, and it just kept spitting snow pretty much all day long, and it was just melting, and it's kept the ground pretty soggy.
Yeah.
So yeah, this morning we were actually supposed to have the studio moved over to the other house, but it was so wet we just didn't.
Well, that's what I noticed early. The ground was pretty tight there just for a little while, but as soon as that sun started hitting everything, because I was doing my chores just in my leather boots, and I was like, I probably should have gone ahead and put on my rubber boots. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, before we get in too deep, first, you guys need to leave us a comment on the YouTube video. If you're watching, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and leave us a rating and a review. I did the math the other day. Now, we got big goals for this year, obviously. Well, I can't pull it up right now. I've been listening. Old Mel Gibson went on Joe Rogan again.
Okay.
And I was listening to that one. I've just started it, which I'm a huge Mel fan. But we were like, between Apple and Spotify, we had like 596 ratings and reviews.
Yeah.
And, we had been saying we wanted 600. I think that was our goal for eating the pepper or something. We're right there. But our big goal, I think we said for this year, 1,000?
Yeah, we'll get to 1,000 by the end of 25.
Yeah, let's get to 1,000. Hey, I'd love for y'all to surprise us and hit 1,000 in like a month. But so guys, leave us a rating and review, 5 stars. It helps out a bunch. I'll pat us on the back here for a second. Bobby Lee and I were talking about we made a pretty cool list, man. Google, if you were to Google top agriculture podcast, some of those people don't know. Some of the people pay to have their stuff show up there. We do not. But FeedSpot is kind of I don't know what you call it, like a forum, I guess, type website thing or something. But they did a list of top 60 agriculture podcasts that you have to listen to in 2025. And out of 60, we were ranked number 14.
Yeah. Yeah, I was, I don't know. I was like, wow, because, you immediately, I was looking at the list, like, all right, let's see. And, of course, a lot of the usual suspects were up near the top. And but then we were ahead of some that I was just like, I think we're number one. But, and ahead of some that were like, big corporate.
They got a lot of money behind them.
Web, groups that, maybe they got a show on RFD or whatever. And some of those, which I was like, a lot of, I'll be honest, I hadn't listened to all those podcasts by a long stretch, but several others that I listened to.
That's how I was, man. I was pretty pumped. Yeah, I got the email that was like, congratulations, y'all have made it into the list. And it did. They were like, we encourage you to share this. And so I was like, heck yeah, man, that's awesome. And that's what, us talking about our goals, that was last week. We did our goal episode.
Yep.
On the goal thing, we talk about, we want to really push this show. And I wanted to explain, like, to you guys, we're sponsored by Agzaga, but we don't have major bucks behind us here. And the people that we compete against, they got a lot of money.
Yeah, like some of them do, I know.
Yeah, they got a lot of money putting behind them. And been in the podcast realm long enough to have learned most of your top dogs, they either have a big platform when they start. I mean, like Joe Rogan. Everybody talks about Joe Rogan. Joe did a podcast for years without really anybody even listening to it. He was getting, very few downloads. But, he's a famous guy. He has famous friends. He has them on the show, so the exposure's huge. So you're either a famous guy when you start one, or you got enough money to really pump out some ads and pump into your marketing. Bobby Lee and I are neither famous nor have a ton of money pumping into this to try to. So we're extra dependent on you guys. That's what we need out of y'all is, man, we just need y'all to share it. Share the thing. And like, I'm encouraging you this week, share this podcast with just one buddy. Like, if each one of you would just text the link to this podcast, maybe this episode or an episode that you just love that episode. Man, it's a good episode. You need to listen to it. Send it to one person. Like, if every one of our listeners would do that, it would skyrocket.
Share the link on your Facebook or your Instagram story or something like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll be having the giveaway soon. We're about to do another giveaway.
Yeah, we are. About to do another guest. I think we got a guest lined up for next week.
Bobby Lee will give away a pair of his underwear. He said he'll throw in a pair of his underwear.
I absolutely will if that's what somebody wants.
The wore out pair that he's talked about. One of your good ones that are really raggedy.
I've got some that are. I'm the type that I don't throw them away until I think there is zero use left in them. I've got socks that have holes in them that I still
wear.
Yeah,
there you go. Bobby Lee will send you that with an awesome giveaway package.
But
do that, guys. That's our kind of heartfelt thing. We're not going to wear you out about it, but we're going to be very dependent on y'all to take this show to the level we want it to go.
Yep.
So do that. And what else do they need to do?
Yeah. Y'all check out agzaga.com. Like Logan mentioned, they've been a great partner of ours. One of the great things about it is they don't tell us what we can or can't say.
Right.
But yeah, using that discount code, TalkDirt, all caps, all one word, 10% off. If you tried to use that like a few days ago and it didn't work, actually somebody messaged me, may have commented on our YouTube. Or maybe it was even my Hurricane Creek YouTube, because I mentioned it there. But it for very temporarily the code had like expired, but
Gotcha.
I got in touch with them. They had it fixed right away. So
good.
The code is up. It works. 10% off your order. If you hadn't already got your bail net wrap for this year, go ahead and do it. Get that ordered. You can't even list all the great things. I was using my Flexzilla hose earlier today. I got it thawed out. Was filling up water troughs ahead of this storm. Got me a new hay knife to cut my net wrap off the bale. So I got the net wrap and the net wrap removal, both from them. But y'all check them out. Use that discount code. They'll know we sent you. Helps us out, and you'll be helping yourself out too.
That's right. So we got some interesting stuff. First, we got quite a few emails we're going to get to in this episode. Got a pretty crazy story that we were in, and I've still been, man, I'll tell you, it's still just the decisions that need to be made this year I still just don't know. I've talked to quite a few farmers, and still more or less everyone's kind of sounds like corn's going to be the direction to go.
Yeah.
But then we're going to have a ton of corn, and that presents problems in itself. But I'm curious. I'd like to hear some of y'all's plans. Write to us on Spotify. Shoot us an email. Go to talkdirtpodcast.com. Contact page. Send in. I want to know what y'all are going to do. For those of you that are farmers that listen, are you going to go more of corn? You going to do, if you're in that area, or if you're going to make, I don't care what you're going to make. If you're going to make suppressors and start selling them on the black market, like I don't care what your plan is, but I want to hear it. I want to know what our listeners are going to do.
Yeah, cattle are up. I was checking it because they were down a little bit yesterday. They're still record highs, really. But today it looks like the board was way up again. So
I saw
gained back what little bit they lost yesterday.
I saw a dude was getting slaughtered online in this group I'm on Facebook. He shared a meme, and it shows a guy in like this skin tight shirt, and it's a button down, and the buttons are like just pulled, like barely holding the shirt, and it says how tight profit margins are right now in cattle farming. And people were commenting, and they were like, buddy, if you can't make a living or make any money in cattle right now at these prices, then you probably need to find something else to be in.
Well, and it depends on what you're doing, what segment you're in. I mean, like cattle feeders right now, or anybody the cow-calf guys, obviously, probably that might be true because, his cost of production is up because cost of diesel and everything else is up. But, his end product, his calves he's selling are worth more than they ever have been.
Yeah.
But for the stocker guys, the backgrounders, the cattle feeders, these calf prices, because the industry is so segmented. We're staring at that and I do have some calves that I will sell just as weaned calves. But when we buy stocker steers this spring, we're going to spend far more money than we've ever spent.
That's true. You're going to be sticking your neck out there a lot further.
Yeah, we're going to now. If the market stays as good as it is, we could stand to make still good money, maybe more than we have in the past.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a whole lot more risk. I've been saying I need to get in touch with my farm credit guy to. I probably need to increase my line of credit just because I'm not planning on buying more calves than I usually do. But that same that 50 head of calves is going to cost me a whole lot more than it did a year and 2 years ago.
Yeah.
A whole lot more.
Yep. Well, and tell you that on that note, something I want to tell guys that are, if you're still trying to kind of move forward from 2024, don't be afraid to talk to multiple lenders. I kind of learned that. I had a lender. I got my main lender that I've always dealt with, and I'm kind of, we're still kind of like, I don't know. I can't tell exactly what they're doing, but I had some things I wanted to shift around. I wanted to actually refinance a couple things. Interest rates were dropping, and so one lender was like, well, no. And I won't mention any names on here, but I had a dude that is with a company that I've done a lot of business with, but he was the one. He was like, man, why don't we just refinance this and kind of, it'll help you out on the interest rate and kind of kick the can. These are the years where, I'm learning a lot because I've never been in this kind of bad financial era of farming, I guess. Like we've had years where the prices might kind of come down or something, but the costs were down. And so this weird stage we're in where the costs are still pretty expensive and the prices are down. This will be my 11th season running my own operation. And so I'm learning. I'm learning how to navigate this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, this problem for a lot of young guys is they just don't. There's a lot of tricks of the trade that I'm kind of learning on how you basically in these kind of years you shift the debt. Like you're just more or less shifting the debt around, and you're more or less just kicking the can down the road in hopes that you have good years and you recoup and you get out of it. And I have heard some guys say that in these kind of years, it can take guys almost 4 to 5 years to get back out of the slump. The bad part with that is ag runs in like cycles. And some guys were saying you almost find yourself in a cycle of about the time you get out of the rut, another one hits.
Yeah. The next big surge in prices doesn't, you may make money on that year, but it's simply covering your debts from previous years.
Yep. And
you're just then back to, overall breaking even, right, just in time for it to take another downturn.
Yep. Yep.
And so,
yes, that's where I know we said it. I think we said it in the last episode, but I've been asking all kinds of questions to any of my financial guys. I'm always asking questions and picking their brain. And I asked them, I was like, man, what are the guys? First I said, did anybody make any money? And more or less they all said pretty much no. No row crop guys made any money in 24. The only ones that stood to really make any money owned land that is actually paid for.
Yeah, majority of the ground they were working, they already owned. Yeah, didn't have any rent payments or land notes to make. Yeah.
Yep. They're very much more established than I am, and most of us are. But they said the guys that really did okay, like we said, they got another industry. They got businesses, whether it be like a farm store or plumbers or car washes or something.
Yeah, they have all farm income. Yeah.
Yep. They might be a veterinarian.
Yeah.
That's off there. So, that's where I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but guys, don't turn your nose up to the possibility of branching out into other industries. All right. This story I want to get into before we get into the emails. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking the what we got here for our YouTube audience.
Cowboy.
The Cowboy Little Barrel American blended whiskey. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
there you go.
You drank it.
I have. Yes, good.
Yeah, because that's when I was talking about the splashes of caramel and white pepper.
That's right. That's right.
It's good stuff. It's not real hot. It's I think it's 40 proof.
Also 80.
Yeah. Yeah, 80 proof. Excuse
me.
40%. 40%. Yeah.
Well, I got tipped to old Brandon Coors Light.
There you go.
Just drinking a Coors Light. I was like, it's still a little early in the afternoon. I'm gonna have a beer.
It's 3:30.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Isn't that what old Toby Keith, or was it Toby Keith?
No, that's old Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. Not quite even on the East Coast yet. But
both of them are sipping up in heaven, aren't they?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Jimmy Buffett and Toby.
Yeah, but I don't know. I do have to go home and get done with this new evening feeding chores, which I was off today. We're sitting here recording at 3:30 in the afternoon, but I was like, I got all the hay put out. I really just have to throw some corn to my feeder steers, and if I get too sauced up, my wife can do that.
There you go. Yeah,
she feeds for me most evenings anyway because I don't get home till way after dark. All
right, there you go.
I did tell her too. Of course, because it's going to start snowing overnight. I was like, I'll be home about 5, right there at dark. I'll help you get the horses' blankets put on them and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, well,
yeah, the blankets might end up on backwards or inside out, but
yeah,
they'll still be.
They'll be warm. They still do what they need them to do.
They can do fine. They don't have to have a damn blanket either. They've got even the ones that aren't in stalls. They've got a.
You need to bring them inside.
Well, they've got barns they can get under
in your house, according to Facebook.
Oh yeah.
If you have animals out, I think we laughed about this last time, but I might offend some of our listeners here.
It's getting down to like 30 tonight.
Yeah,
it's not even getting that cold.
I've seen all on Facebook the thing going around, and it's like, if you have animals outside tonight, then you be sure and stay out with them, is what it said.
Well, again, it was a lot colder last night. Now, and thankfully with this storm, and I ain't here yet, but our typical snowstorm or winter storms it rains for like 2 hours and slowly starts sleeting and freezing rain, and then it starts snowing. So yeah, you're out like cattle that are out on pasture, like they're soaking wet and it's miserable.
Yeah,
but this one, like, it's supposed to be just snow that's falling, and so that's not.
Well, I just laughed.
It's a whole lot more bearable.
Dude, I had my chocolate lab. He's 12 years old now, 11 or 12, and he wasn't out. He's an inside dog now. We've pussified him and made him an inside dog, but he stayed right out here. Dude, it would get real cold, and I'd go and I just piled hay. He had a nice, like a dog igloo thing.
Yeah.
And I would pack it full of hay. Oh, dude, he'd get all up in there, and he'd be toasty in that thing. Yeah. And at that time, I'd let him in the house, and he wouldn't want to stay in the house very long, and then he wanted to go back outside. He likes being outside. So I kind of get tickled, which I've seen some funny comments pushing back against where people have said that. I've seen quite a few of them be like, do you have a room where I can bring the cattle and put them in your house? Like, I need some more room for my cows. So people just...
Well, and because I don't have enough barn space to put 40-something mama cows in a barn.
So you put a blanket on each one of them.
Yeah. And like, I do hate it when, like, because we start calving like late February, and so it's like,
oh, you feel bad for them.
Well, and like, if we've got brand new calves or ones that are about to calve, and it's one of those storms where it rains a bunch and then it starts snowing, And so I usually will try to give them kind of access to where some of the horses run in the barn right now. But even then, it's like, man, a lot of them will try to pile in there, and then you got little baby calves. You're like, yeah, and you sure don't want one to calve like they're in the middle of the storm with 40 other animals all around her. It's going to
get trampled.
Until it's just, I'd rather have them out on pasture because it's a whole lot cleaner than in a barn where all that manure is concentrated. So it's I don't know. Cattle are pretty dang tough.
They are. God knew what he was doing when he created them. All right, let's get into this story real quick.
Yeah, what are the deer and the buffalo and the elk and all them?
You need to bring them in. You know, they all die. Every one of them dies, and they just, so here you go. I got a story for you. It's the Great Manure Scam. How Ray Brewer.
Sounds like a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Ray Brewer, he turned cow poop into an $8.75 million Ponzi scheme. Imagine a man selling you the dream of turning cow manure into gold or at least renewable energy. Ray Brewer, a silver-tongued con artist from California, can't imagine that, did just that. Between 2014 and 2019, he convinced investors to pour $8.75 million into his company, CH4 Power, promising quick profits from biogas digesters that didn't even exist.
Yeah.
That was a biogas digester.
I'm not any sort of a engineer or anything, but I think, well, I really don't know.
Is it supposed to break down methane or something?
Yeah, and like I guess the gases that are created, it can capture it and then utilize it for a fuel source.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's my not at all understanding.
Well, he played the part of a farmer, engineer, and a military hero. He dazzled investors with fake construction schedules, forged contracts, and manipulated photos of digesters.
So it wasn't like he didn't just have what he thought was a good idea that just didn't turn out. Like it was a scam from the word go.
Yes, and he had it well planned. Said he even took them on tours of functioning digesters that he did not own, claiming they were his. At the heart of the scam was his charisma and knowledge of agriculture. He targeted wealthy but naive investors unfamiliar with farming, luring them with promises of green energy tax incentives and hefty returns. Instead of building digesters, he spent the money on luxury homes, trucks, motorcycles, and even an infinity pool. I'm going to pause real quick. Guys, this is why you need to send this podcast to your friends and people that you know, especially if they're super wealthy. Send them this podcast, and they can listen to it, and then they would know. Like, when somebody comes up and starts saying this stuff, they'd be like, this sounds like a load of shit. Or at the very least, they could write in and we'd tell them. So, there's a good reason why to share it. When the scheme began to collapse under mounting lawsuits, he fled to Montana, using a stolen identity and even applying for a COVID relief loan. But federal investigators caught up with him and he was arrested in 2020. During his trial, he lied, claiming heroic military service and even pretending to have been injured saving a nurse in jail. This dude's he was an interesting cat.
So while he was in jail, he
saved a nurse. None of it was true. In 2023, he was sentenced to nearly 7 years in prison and ordered to repay the millions he stole. So, and then the thing just at the end says, this story highlights the dangers of agriculture fraud and how one man exploited the allure of green energy. And I wouldn't be shocked if you don't see that more often as this green energy thing.
Well, I have a feeling, or I have a hope, that a lot of that is about to go away.
Yeah, I hope.
I know Trump and Vance both spoke openly how big of a scam, like, a lot of the wind energy and all that stuff is. Like, it's just, and which
for the footprint that it takes up, it does not produce effective or efficiently.
I'm only 2 episodes in, but have you been watching Landman?
I just started last night, man. I'm 2 episodes in. That's a badass show.
Okay, so we're right at the same point.
Damn, his daughter is a bad to the bone chick.
Which I'm sure she's over 18.
She is. She's 29 years old.
Oh, is she really?
Hell yeah.
Okay, so I don't feel bad for looking at her and being like, yeah.
No, that's all right. Because because she comes out,
I'm not old enough to be her dad.
No,
like,
when she came out,
like, I might be old enough to be that guy.
Nah,
so.
Yeah, she was in 1923.
I don't know.
She is the chick that's she gets shot.
Okay, so she's Spencer's brother's
woman.
Spencer's sister-in-law.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember his brother's name.
But yeah, when she runs out of the shower and you see pretty much everything over naked in Landman, I was like, now this chick's got to be over 18 years old. And so I got to looking.
Got more curves than, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, and legally there's just, surely they wouldn't do that.
Well, and we hadn't really seen her yet, but I'm excited for Billy Bob's ex-wife.
You're going to see her.
Okay.
I haven't made it that far, but I have buddies that are like, she's pretty bad.
Well, I mean, you know who she is.
What is she from?
So where she is most famous, at least in my mind, is the Varsity Blues.
Oh yeah. She's with the whipped cream.
Whipped cream bikini.
Yeah. She's aged well.
Yeah, she looked like she had.
Yeah. I'm assuming she's coming. I'm 2 episodes in myself. I'm assuming she's going to come.
No doubt going to be in it, but
she's going to come crack Billy Bob's impression. I get.
I've gotten that impression too. Like, yeah, I mean, it's a very, I don't know what's the right word, vulgar probably.
Yeah, quite a few F words.
Yeah, and it's even worse than that. It's not just the language. It's
what they keep saying.
The content and everything. It's like,
yeah, it's not a family-friendly show.
No, and they almost like
go a little over the top.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I know like, in the oil field. I mean, I don't know because I've never worked in oil and gas or anything. But I mean, that's a very masculine industry. I imagine, those guys probably are a little rough around the edges maybe. And yeah, they certainly when they're out there, just with the boys, they probably do talk like that. But
you've been in the clinic too long.
Yeah,
Bobby Lee works around nothing but women. If he talked like this, you would see him in the news on because he'd be getting sexual harassment lawsuits.
Oh yeah, like right, yeah, the stuff I'm like, I wonder if it.
See, I'd have a hard time if I had to like come take a job at the clinic. Things got bad. I'd have to go through like some training or something.
Oh no, you could tone it down pretty easy. We just
But yes, I just started Landman. Where were you going with that?
Yeah, I really don't know. Oh, where was I going with that? Oh, and I haven't got to that yet when you hadn't either. But of course, everybody like with social media, they're showing like the little clips, and there's the one scene where. I guess it's him and the lawyer out there.
Oh yeah,
Like, and he goes on like a 2-minute monologue about how stupid the wind energy thing is. It'll never produce enough energy to offset the amount of carbon that went into producing it.
Yes,
and which I've seen more and more people like highlighting that, like just how much, just like oil is used just to lubricate them, like and stuff like that. Like it's
not green, and
it's asinine. It's all a scam in my mind. Like it is one huge scam propped up by government kickbacks. Like if it wasn't for that, it would never have existed. And it shouldn't exist for exactly that reason. Anyway.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to that. Like Taylor Sheridan, one thing I'll give him credit for, he knows, which I mean he's kind of in the Western kind of industry anyway, but like he nailed like a lot of Yellowstone, like cattle industry issues. Like he nailed a lot of them pretty much right on. And I feel like, that it kind of continues here. Either he has a really good team of advisors, like saying like, no, that's not right. We need to highlight this issue, or he's just very well, versed on all that to begin with.
I've always been, some people like to hate on them because they're like, oh, they Hollywood this up. And I'm like, they got to. It's a TV show. If I want to, if you don't want the Hollywood version, get on YouTube and watch Bobby Lee with the cattle, watch it. And you have exciting things. You got the crazy ass cows sometimes. And so it's like, and honestly, when you get a bump in numbers, when you have the crazy ass cows. So like people like to see that. So it's a TV show. Of course they're going to Hollywood it up, but the narratives are a lot of times pretty damn spot on. Like there were several times Kevin Costner, like when he talked to all the PETA people. I can't remember the rant now, but I remember at the time he went on a rant to her about beef and all this and the cattle industry and all that. And I was like, damn, that's right on dead on the money. Yeah. So
Well, he talked about, even if you're eating, a vegan diet, like a whole hell of a lot of animals die in the production of that food.
Yep. So, I'm a fan. I know some people like to hate on Yellowstone and all that stuff. Hell, I like it. 1923 is probably the best in my opinion. It comes back in February. But
we're getting close.
But yeah, Landman, if you like a raunchy show with worse language than Yellowstone and raunchier and about the oil fields, so then you need to check it out. Yeah, and It has some good looking women in it. Yeah. So there you go. All right. Let's get into some questions or some emails here. So first email comes in here from Tex. Tex writes, Logan.
Damn good name.
That is. Logan, listening to y'all's latest podcast, and you said you were in Atlanta, Indiana. You were about 20 minutes from my ranch. Wish you would have reached out. I'd bought the first round. Keep it up, fellers. Keep building that empire. Tex. Man, I'll tell you, It
was a quick trip.
It was a quick trip. And it was snowing its ass off when we left. And I think I told you them. They were like, we're going to get you guys out of here. We were there. I don't remember what time we landed. It was probably 9 o'clock or something. And we left by like 2 or 3 o'clock. And it was nonstop. I mean, we literally went in, they gave us a tour, did this and that, fed us lunch. We did a couple more little things, and then our ass was gone. But if I'm ever out that way, Tex.
They didn't even cut the plane off.
Basically not. No, I mean, they might have kept some guys on the plane. Like, you just stay here. But yeah, if I'm ever back out that way, I'll look you up, Tex. I'll shoot you an email. I got your email here. Appreciate you writing in. Atlanta, Indiana. Yeah.
Because I'm kind of a geography nerd. I was like, I got to look up exactly where Atlanta.
I think it's central.
Atlanta, Indiana is.
Didn't we look it up? Wasn't it central Indiana?
I assume it, because obviously all the Purdue connection is pretty close to West Lafayette. Yeah, it's just north of Indianapolis. Yeah, so, not far from Lafayette. And then I assume
is that central?
Yeah, it's like north central. No, yeah.
Where's
Indianapolis is damn near dead center, and yeah, it's just you'd say central Indiana.
Where's the Hoosiers in relation to that?
The Hoosiers are Bloomington. Yeah.
All right, because I got a buddy that works for them.
Yeah, IU, and then IU or Indiana University and Purdue are the two.
Because I told the moron, I said, "Hey man, I'm going to be." I said, "I'm going to be in your neck of the woods, but I'm going to be in Atlanta." I said, "How close is that to you?" And he was like, 8 or 9 hours. And I'm like, 8 or 9 hours? And then
he thought you meant Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah. So then later on, I was like, Atlanta, Indiana, you dumbass. And he was like, oh, hell, I thought you meant Atlanta, Georgia. I'm like, why would I say I'm in your neck of the woods if I said so?
He just thought you were a dumbass.
He did. Because when I was in a group thing, and several of them then started being like, that's in Georgia, you dipshit. And I'm like, no, it ain't. Y'all are the dipshits here. This is Atlanta, Indiana. So
it looks like, you still may have been a couple hours away.
Yeah, I think he said an hour and a half or two at something.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go on to the next one. Tex, appreciate you, man. As I said earlier, if you guys want to reach out to us, talkdirtpodcast.com, go to the contact page, submit your stuff there. That is the best place to reach out to us because it goes to our emails, and we got them all compiled. So, all right, Blake writes in, says, I'm Blake, and I am 19, and I've been on a farm since I could remember. My main job is being a coal miner in Pennsylvania, but last year with some help, I bought a farm and have mostly started from scratch, and it has been prospering pretty well. Man, a coal miner, that is a ass busting job right there.
Blue collar for sure.
Yep, that's pretty awesome. I have listened to the podcast a while and watched Bobby's YouTube a while too, and I've noticed how much you guys talk about meat packers, and I saw an interesting article about cut his thing off. All right, here we go. He said, his last email got cut off. I was wanting to mention there's a Nebraska rancher who raised $300 million and started his own meat packing company. I didn't look into it a whole lot yet, but it sounds interesting. Have you heard about that?
So I know I think there's a couple of different ones that are in the process of construction that are going to be big major facilities that aren't going to be owned by one of the big four. One of them in particular advertises with Corbett, and they're like they've been doing a campaign to like sell, not really shares, but basically you buy slots to have your animals killed there.
Yeah.
But I think that's different than another one, and maybe the one he's talking about where it's going to be a big deal, which of course there are a lot of barriers there. And, one of the biggest ones being like, if you're really big to where you're going to be needing to sell to like major retailers, a lot of the big four, they'll pretty much tell those retailers,
don't buy your shit.
Like, if you start buying from them, we'll quit selling to you. And so they better be able to supply you, which is dirty as hell.
That is.
But, there's stuff like that. But, Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think I may have found it. So, I'm friends with the Terminator now. I got my Chat GPT, and I asked it the question, and it says, Nebraska ranchers have initiated the construction of their own meatpacking plant, Sustainable Beef, near North Platte.
Yeah, that's one of the ones. Yeah.
It says, spearheaded by rancher Rusty Kemp, the project has successfully raised over $300 million from ranchers and investors. The plant aims to process approximately 1,500 head per day, providing ranchers with greater control over pricing and operations. This initiative challenges the dominance of the Big Four, which currently control over 80% of the U.S. beef market. Construction of the $325 million facility is progressing, with operations expected to commence in the summer of 2025. It's anticipated to employ around 800 workers, contributing significantly to the local economy.
Yeah.
So it says this is development as part of a broader movement among U.S. ranchers to establish independent meat processing facilities. And, dude, I love it, man. I hope that they're successful and can do it. It's kind of wild to me, all the involvement that the government wants to be in farming, and we got 4 companies that dominate. Like, we're supposed to not have monopolies. Like, that's one of the big things in the finance world. And, I mean, the Big Four clearly have a monopoly on the meat packing business. And, dude, if you could unlock the meat packing thing and kind of do away with that, I think the cattle industry as a whole would just, because it's doing pretty good right now, but like if you could unlock that, man, I feel like you would set, we talk about the uncertainties, and there's always uncertainties in any industry. In ag, you can lose cattle and this and that, but as far as a market dependency part, I think you would just about unlock a sustainable market for damn near forever.
Yeah, it's like right now the frustrating thing is fat cattle are just knocking on the door of going over $2, and that's kind of that glass ceiling. They're saying they don't want it to break $2, because like once it breaks $2, that's obviously just a huge benchmark. That price could shoot up to 210, 215, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And man, they're just doing everything they can. I was they were up today, I was just saying, and live cattle on the board are at 198.
They're right there.
But of course, there's a lot of just individual sales, especially where there are some fat cattle auctions where they're selling for well over $2. But the board is sitting at 198, I guess. Yeah, at the end of the day today.
Dang. Well, Blake, we appreciate you writing in. And let's see. I want to go to the next one. Actually, that makes me. I want to try to find this. This dude wrote into me on Instagram, and we've talked about getting him on the show at some point, but he does a lot of different stuff. He wrote into me about how he does Stalkers. He wrote in because I guess it was the episode me and you talked about it. His name's Brian, and he said here's how they run their Stalkers. He said they do 3 to 4 sets of steers a year on the same fields, and he said it was a lot while they are on grass. He said they do 2 head per acre, and their calves gain anywhere from 2 1/4 to 3 1/2 pounds per day.
Yeah. Where is he?
I don't remember where he said he is, honestly. Let's see, because he listens to the show. He said, and he was telling me, he was like, man, you could run a variety of Stalkers. Like he said, you could run multiple groups of Stalkers, like just keep churning them out. And that's what
how many days he turns them in?
Let me see.
He's keeping them for like 90 days, or
let me see here. He said here, you're already growing the corn. He said he buys semi-loads of gluten and grind with corn, 50-50 corn gluten. He said his feed costs about 65 cents per pound. He said, I put on the cattle, and the cattle are worth $261 on a 750-pound steer right now.
Well, I wonder, so is that gain all on grass, or is that on some?
No, he supplements with feed.
Well, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I was like, man, those are extremely good gains if they're just on grass.
No, and that's what he said. He encourages which I mean, we're not
push them.
Yeah, and we're not like the grass fed. I still chuckle because I mentioned Joe Rogan earlier, and Joe is all on board with this grass fed, grass finished, and that's the only way they can do it. Which hell, I mean, like we've kind of not jokingly said, if if you feed them corn, they're still technically grass fed, grass finished.
Corn is a grass.
It's a grass. If I ever get a chance to go on Joe Rogan, I'm going to tell him, be like, Joe, you know, if you feed them corn, they're still grass.
You're feeding them the seed
of grass.
You're not feeding them the leaf or the stem. But,
they need to change that.
Well, I say that, a lot of people feed silage, which you're feeding the whole plant there.
That's true. And they'll eat the stalks and shit. Yeah. So, but yeah, he said that, and I'm not mentioning his name here. So, I mean, I don't think he didn't tell me not to share this, but he said that this year they had a $275 a head profit on nearly 12. They run 1,200 head of cattle in a year.
Yeah. That's pretty damn good. Yeah.
Yeah. So he also, this dude is working his ass off. He also runs chicken houses, and he said he literally never takes a day off. He's making good money, but working his ass off. So I thought that was interesting that they're just basically steadily running. I don't think he said.
And chicken houses is something that, which there's none in our area, and I don't know what necessarily the reasoning is. I mean, none in our immediate area, I should say. That's something which I've already got too many irons in the fire, but if I was, just trying to make a go of it, just farming, and that was, they were coming into our area, something I would look into. Like,
I've kicked that idea around.
Have a couple of chicken houses, maybe, of course, maybe just one. Because then you do get the benefit of you get the litter. Yeah. We do grow plenty of corn right around here. So you got the feed. I just as far as something that you could have to help, supplement the rest of the farm, and just keeping yourself diversified.
Yeah.
Now, of course, with chicken, it's like with hogs, you're
at the mercy of the buyer, who your contract is with.
Yeah, you're not an independent grower. You're contracted, and I say that we still need to have we need to have him on. We need to talk to a chicken grower.
I'm trying to get him on. Like I said, I think he said he hadn't took a day off since like December 5th or something. So,
I tell every people. My wife asked me, "You working today?" Like, I work every day. Like, the animals got to be fed and checked every day. But yeah, you know what I mean. And I know what she means. I'm just kind of a smart ass.
Oh yeah, yeah. No. I get you.
Hell, if he's not doing anything, I don't know what time zone he's in at 9 o'clock Central one night. Well, we can be flexible on one night. We do it.
Yeah.
Well, or hell, sometimes we do it at 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah, we can do it and have a beer then. All right, man. Jake writes in. Jake says, I'm a blueberry farmer in South Georgia and listen to your podcast regularly. Dude, we got the coolest damn diverse.
I enjoy blueberries.
I do too, and I just love how awesomely diverse our audience is. We got like your corn, soybean guys. We got cattle growers, and then we got blueberry farmers. And dude,
we had Brandon, our guest,
potatoes growing barley, and I mean, we got the coolest damn audience. So blueberry farmer in South Georgia, listen to your podcast regularly. I've been hearing you and basically every other grain farmer saying the same things about overproduction. But this video offers a little different perspective. Even if you disagree, I think you both would enjoy Patrick Shiver's channel. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
He said, thanks, keep up the good work. He sent a video. We'll watch this. We'll report back on that on the next episode. But I'll make a note I'm going to save that there. I'll make a note to watch that one and get back. Cause
Can we possibly put even like a link? So in the show notes or anything. So I can...
check it out.
Yeah, if you're watching this or listening to this, you can check it out too.
Yeah, let me make a note on mine.
Is it a YouTube or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. I know that platform pretty well.
Yeah.
I can navigate that one.
There, I made a
you don't need a subscription to go sign up for some website you've never heard of to watch.
Like every other freaking show there is. All right, Jake, we appreciate you writing in. I will check that out and we'll send that. Yeah, we'll talk about it next week. I'll look at it and see. All right, Marble Creek. I've seen this dude online quite a bit. His name is Blake. Hey, fellas, y'all put together a great podcast. Logan, we chatted for a minute on Facebook. There you go. He said, but you mentioned you keep up with these better. I was listening to the show from last week, and you all were talking about the farm store and direct-to-consumer beef. We started that a few years ago just north of Atlanta, and it's gone gangbusters. we donated a whole cow, sold the beef, and donated the sales revenue to help with the WNC livestock hurricane relief, and we sold the whole thing in 4 hours. Wow. All from one Facebook post. The demand is there if you're relatively close to any big city. Starting out, you just got to figure out how to get people in the door. And Logan, you nailed it. You got to use the gateway products to get people to spend more. We're going to add eggs this next year, along with more lard and tallow, etc., and I think/hope that'll allow us to gain more beef customers, which I think it will. We'll see if RFK and the crew will bring more customers into the fray too, with an awareness of knowing your farmer. Between Nashville and Memphis, you all have great potential markets. If y'all are up for it, I'll be up that way seeing, he does financial planning, the off-farm job. Shit, I could probably use help in that myself. Clients on Thursday, January 23rd and Friday, January 24th. Would love to come by the studio and share how I got into it. The industry with no experience at 30. I'll bring a bottle of some good stuff. Keep up the great shows. Hope you and your families have a Merry Christmas. So, well, try that. January 23rd. That's on a Thursday. That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be in contact with you, Blake, because I'm very, very interested in the direct beef thing, especially since we literally have a storefront, and as I've said, I'm gonna be heavily relying on that at this point, because if I keep heavily relying on row crop, then I'm not gonna be farming very much longer. So I'm leaning on the farm store and these other avenues a lot. The direct to farm or direct to customer beef is one that I'm gonna definitely plan to move to pretty heavily. So, and I mean, you've been doing that for several years now.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and see what year we first started doing that.
I would say, probably 7 or 8 years, isn't it?
Oh, no, it's more than that.
Is it?
Yeah, because we bought that farm in 10, and I didn't start doing that right away, but I bet I'm at least 10 years.
Okay, wow. Yeah. Nice. Well, there you go. Yeah, so I definitely think that it's a pretty darn good industry or business to start up and get into. So Blake, appreciate you writing in. What were you going?
Well, I always say, I don't have any trouble marketing, but I've had more people, which I'm almost gotten a little nervous this year. I'm like, which I'm telling new people that are reaching out to me, just people I know, that like text my wife or text me or run into me in town like, hey, you gonna have some this year? And I'm like, yeah, I'll put you on the list. But I always tell them, like, I have to be sure that, because I'm feeding out the same number every year, like pretty much for me to add a new customer means I need to have somebody that
doesn't get any more.
Yeah, doesn't get back in for the next year. Some people they don't end up eating that much, and they're like, oh man, I still got some from last year. But it's got me to thinking, like, man, how can I do more?
Yeah.
Because my facility is, I got 9 right now. I could do 10. I could maybe say even do 11 or 12, but then I kind of start my bunk space, and it's like, well, okay, what can I modify, to make it work, or do I want to do it twice a year, which I really don't. Like, it's already, I have them on feed for like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And so it would turn into just about a year-round sort of thing, and you could put them on feed at a higher weight, so you didn't have to feed them as long, but I kind of like what I've been doing. The product's been good. The customers have been happy. So part of me's like, well, I don't want to really change what's been working too much. So, but yeah, I think if I had 20, I might would have to like put some stuff on Facebook and whatnot to totally get rid of 20 of them. But I think it would be pretty.
I think you could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is, we are in a good location. Like, we kind of hate on Memphis.
Yeah, fairly populated. Yeah.
We hate on the crime there, but it is a good, and that's one of the strong things we say with our store. It's 30 minutes from Memphis, our farm store over there. And you take a shot down, there's basically, you get off Highway 51, turn on one road, come down it, and then you take a left, or no, you take a right, and the farm store is right down there. So, it's an easy trip from Memphis to the stores. That's where I think, I'm like, if you had good beef that could sell, your place is not that far from Memphis. So yeah, we're in a good area right here. So man, I appreciate you writing in. Like I said, I'll be in contact with you. Rob writes in, here is 2 ideas for your farm store. Wouldn't have to do it at a full scale, but you need to check out the American-made store. Everything they sell is USA made, and the owner is a veteran. My mom has been there.
Where is it?
Let's see. All right, he didn't say it was one of her. My mom goes on these bus trips every year. It might have been New York or Pennsylvania or somewhere out there. It was somewhere kind of up north.
Yankees.
Yeah. But they went to that. Yeah, it's somewhere up there. They went to the American thing. Everything they made there is made in USA, and she met the owner. He was there talking to him. He had been on like Fox News and stuff a bunch, talking about American manufacturing. And yeah, that's what he says. So it was a really neat store. She was really, really impressed with it. They have 4 stores as of now. There is also a company, Sunrise Farms, out of Jonesboro, Arkansas, that sells USDA beef. Has it in a few stores around, and they use a freezer that is the style of the ice cream freezer from the gas stations, which works as a display case. Okay. There's another farm that offers USDA beef by the pound that is appointment pickup only. It's Hardin Farms on Facebook. It says there is also some ways to transport the USDA beef. You can use chest freezers and a generator. Just things to look into. Just get started. We feed out a few every year. We just sell them live and deliver to custom processor.
Yeah, same way I do it.
Yep. I do need to look into that. I mean, if I could rig up a trailer, get a cheap trailer, throw a chest freezer on it with a generator, it'd be a hell of a lot cheaper than having to get like a reefer truck.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess that setup has to get inspected, but yeah, could you just strap down?
That's what I'm saying.
Freeze on a flatbed trailer and have your Honda generator
have it running there. That's what I'm saying. If that passed the inspection, hell, I'd do it.
Well, and I mean, I understand that to an extent, but like, we'll say you were selling it at your store, and you were using a processor, because we've got a couple of custom processors, and I guess it has to be a USDA processor. We've got a USDA processor within a half-hour drive.
Yep.
If you pick it up frozen from that processor, pack it in your
cooler,
whatever cooler, like, and drive it straight to your store, it is still frozen, hard as a rock.
Oh yeah, I could hit someone in the head with it and knock them out.
Yeah, like the government red tape bullshit is annoying. Now, yeah, if you were driving 3 hours,
yeah,
like, I mean, it's still, I mean,
hell, it'd still be pretty frozen, but yeah.
And completely safe, but that would be a little different story. But yeah, it's the fact that they have all that red tape, and a lot of that is in place, and you got folks like the big 4 meat packers like, oh hell yeah, we need all this regulation.
Yeah.
Because yeah, obviously it doesn't matter to them, but then they but it matters to the little guy that's trying to do it. So. And
again, that's where I go back and forth on, like, let the people have the say. Let the people have the say here.
Yeah, let the consumer.
If you trust buying the beef from the guy you're buying the beef from, and it's kind of, the thing, this push now where it's like, know your farmer. And it's like, all right, if you know the guy, you trust the guy, then you can confidently be like, well, I know this dude isn't going to let this meat thaw out and then refreeze it and like get us all sick. Like and
if he does, he's going to go out of business very quickly. He might get sued. He might get thrown in jail if he finds out like he's totally. I mean, I don't know what all the. But same way like the raw milk. Like if a dairy wants to sell raw milk and they have consumers that want to buy raw milk, as long as they're not misrepresenting it as anything other than what it is,
they should be able to sell the shit.
I mean, we got liquor stores that sell liquor and gas stations sell cigarettes and everything else, and we're like, yeah, let's go buy it.
Yep.
That's totally legal.
Yep.
But obviously those industries have a hell of a lot of lobbying power and whatnot behind them. But it's like we know we're assuming risk.
Yep.
With everything we do, and we're either willing to do it or we're not.
People ride motorcycles every day.
Yeah.
I'd love to have one myself. Yeah, no, man, I'm totally agree. I think, and who knows, maybe we'll see some change. That's where if RFK and Trump and them really want to help out the small farmers, they would remove these regulations. Like, these are the kind of things.
There's already a legislation, like, it hasn't ever come up for vote, the Prime Act. I've mentioned it a bunch of times, where you can sell beef and it does not have to be processed by a USDA facility. or it would at least allow the state to decide if they would allow it within their state, and you can sell it within your state. And some of my beef actually does leave the state, but again, I get around that because I'm not selling beef. I'm selling a live animal.
Yeah.
Just that my customers then pick up from the processor.
Yep. All right, Rob. Appreciate it, man. Those are all, great. I appreciate all the information. I like the American made thing. I mean, as the store grows, that's something I've even thought. I'm like, as the store grows, if I want to bring in some things. Right now, we mostly want to try to make everything there, which will all be made in USA because it'll be made literally by us. And as the tallow stuff, we want to get into that, and it will be American cattle that'll be providing the tallow. So, all right, we got enough time for another. Tyler writes in, hey guys, regular listener who enjoys the content, keep up the work, but I'm trying to find the liquid hydration supplement y'all talk about. Any help is appreciated. Sincerely, a thirsty chicken farmer / firefighter. Protect, yep. Okay, yeah. Protect is PROTEKT.
Yep.
You should be able to find them pretty good.
Guest Baker Levitt, one of his companies.
Yep, they're good stuff. I've had Protect for a long time. I've drank it for several years now. Yeah,
I keep a box of them. They're really good. I know the Field Ethos guys promote it as a
hangover cure, or
prevention and cure. Yeah, like if I have had a few more drinks than maybe I would normally have, like New Year's Eve, I made me a little Protect, nightcap.
Did you have a hangover the next day?
No, not like I would have. Well, I mean, hell, I don't know if I would have or not, or if you wake up, you got a little bit of one. Yep, mix you up.
And knock
comes
her
in a little
out.
package. You mix it with I don't know, however much water you want to. Probably the more the better, just because obviously water is good for you. But
there you go. Well, Tyler, get you some Protect. Stay safe.
You can go to their website. You can get it even through Amazon.
Yeah, they ought to just sponsor us. You're a firefighter, man. Stay safe out there. Hope you're not in California right now.
Ooh, yeah.
My God, the place is burning to the ground. We do have some listeners in California, guys, definitely thinking about y'all.
Yeah, if you're in that LA area.
Get the hell out of there. I hope you get your livestock out, whatever's going on.
Don't move here, but move somewhere.
Yeah, unless you're going to bring the right mindset and political thinking here, then don't come here.
Well, even still, our land prices have gotten high.
That's right. They are. Very true. Very true. All right, Mitch writes in.
We have terrible school system here. You don't want your
crime ridden. We're right here in Memphis. Yeah, you don't want to be this close to Memphis.
You don't want to raise a family around here.
No. Mitch writes in, Bobby Lee, how do you price your freezer beef? Hold on, let me see. All right, I took a picture. All right, this is a different guy. Hold on. Let me read the rest of his thing real quick. How do you price your freezer beef? I've had several people ask me to feed out a few calves, but want to make sure I'm not going to lose money on them versus taking them to the sale barn. How do you come up with a price?
So I sell them off carcass weight, just because, and my guy can give me a live weight. Basically after they kill them, they hang them up and weigh them before they skin them, gut them. But I don't ever worry about live weight. I sell them off carcass weight. I guess probably a little more fair to the customer. Last year, I believe my price was an even $4 a pound on carcass weight, which of course I always tell people, if you buy a calf that had a 700-pound carcass, you're not, and then you get home and you weigh out everything that's in your cooler, it's not going to weigh 700 pounds. Because you don't get 100% yield and, actual cuts out of that carcass. This year, I need to look at it and put a pencil to it. It will be higher. I mean, the cattle are worth more when I put them on feed. I would say corn. Corn's not costing anymore, but my fuel, and I had to go buy feed today. My pelleted feed, my tenderloin that I put on top of it. That sort of stuff. So I think my price for this year is probably going to be at $4.50 a pound. And I look at too what a couple of, I don't want other groups are in my area that are selling. I mean, I guess they are a competition, but I mean, just based off what they're doing, and I'm usually cheaper than at least one in particular that I keep up with in our area. Now theirs is USDA inspected, and so that they have more cost in their processing than I do. But anyway, and I guess they may deliver it, and I can't do that because I'm not
USDA.
So, but generally, like I say, I think this year will probably be right at $4.50 a pound on carcass weight.
There you go. All right, appreciate you writing in. All right, here's a question we had on Facebook. in that group I'm in. This guy, his name is Seth. Seth said, do you guys figure in the butcher cost into the price of beef for direct to consumer? My cost just went up and I'm thinking of just making the customer pay for the butchering. I'm talking for whole, half, etc. Individual cuts are different. I wouldn't change the policy for current customers, just new ones. Logan, I would love to hear what Bobby Lee does on the podcast if you guys get time or the topic comes up. Thanks.
Yes, legally I have to do it that way.
Okay.
Because I sell them the animal. So
it's their animal.
That $4.50 a pound they're paying is for the animal, or for the carcass. Then they go pick it up. They pay the processing.
Gotcha.
Which processing? I mean, I don't know what. I mean, I am almost certain if my guy hasn't gone up this year, he should have, because everything costs more. I'm sure he's paying his labor more.
Yeah.
He pays more for utilities than he did a year ago. But it's usually pretty darn reasonable. Like when you think about it, like, oh yeah, like I don't know, for a whole carcass of beef, less than $500, maybe less than $400. Of course, it depends on how big it is too.
Yeah.
You know, that they charge you by the pound of how much they do, but I think most time it's like $350, $400. But
Okay,
yeah.
there you go.
No, right. So the simple answer is no. My customers pay the processing.
Gotcha. All right, Seth. Hope that helped answer your question. If you got any more questions, write in. We got just a few of these, and I want to try to get them. We can do it. Jordan writes in, good evening from South Carolina. I've been listening for a while now and really enjoyed the show. Keep it up, guys. I've always wanted to raise cattle and finally got started 4 years ago when we bought our first piece of land. We turned our first cows out 3 years ago, but I knew I'd never make enough just selling a few calves at the sale barn, so we started a butcher beef business, selling everything from butcher boxes to whole cows. We took 25 cows to butcher in 2024, and I'm planning on 35 in 2025. The episode on diversification really hit home and made me feel like I made the right choice going this direction instead of just a traditional cow, calf, or stocker operation. 2 of my goals for 2025 are to break 100K in beef sales and 50 brood cows. Sorry for being so long-winded. Love the podcast, and I can't wait to hear more. Jordan. Dude, that's great goals, man. Break 100,000 in beef sales is badass. Like, that's awesome, man. Like, and I love that, like 25 cows in butcher in 2024 and now 35 in 2025. So, like, I love to just see, man, I just love the upwards trajectory. I always like that. And I feel like more and more, like, again, I'm a row crop guy, but it's more and more apparent to me that right now, it's without a doubt, the beef industry is far more profitable than grain.
Well, right. It depends on what segment you're in. And nice thing about my product is I can sell direct. Like,
yeah. If I harvest, if I go and sit at the end of the road with I got bushels of soybeans, guys. Let me put them in the back of your truck.
Yeah. Y'all come pick up a sack of corn.
Yes.
Which, I mean,
some people feed it out, but
and like, hey, selling it to people like me, yeah, you could do that. I mean, I guess our dads sell like 0.02%
I was going to say
of their crop
in the scale of in the scale of acres. Man, you'd have to have a boatload of buyers to get anywhere with it.
And I know folks that bag corn, to sell, which it'd be hard to do in this area because at least legally we're not supposed to feed wildlife anymore because of CWD. But I actually know somebody that's just outside of our area that they're buying a bagger, and they're gonna. I mean, it won't be all their corn by any stretch, but they're gonna start bagging corn to sell.
I think we're gonna put a little silo out at the store where people can get their own corn.
Yeah, can bring a couple of barrels.
Yeah, I don't care if you make moonshine with it or feed it, whatever you do in your own time with it, that's your business.
Put it in a bird feeder, put it in a deer feeder.
Put it up your butt. I don't care what you do with it,
Yeah. Well, and I know some people that actually heat their home with corn.
Yep.
Which is wild.
That is. Yeah. That is.
Talk about how efficient it is. But
they might make it into cocaine.
Yeah, they might.
You could crush it up. Instead of fentanyl, you could put corn in there. That'd be a lot safer.
You have to cut it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what was I going to say. Something Oh, well, just talking about, different ways. You know, they talk about the farmer feeders like in the Midwest, like Iowa. A bunch of guys up there that are big corn growers that they then, they get done with harvest. They've got a feedlot set up too. They start buying calves because rather than sell the corn, they'd rather, again, walk that grain to camp.
Well, and it's way more profitable right now.
Yeah.
You're getting corn prices
they'd
today.
Rather turn that corn into pounds of beef to then sell,
I'd be curious
and whatnot.
I'd be curious to know if they cut some cost on, like, on a 100-acre field. If you're going to grow that corn strictly to feed, I wonder if they're shooting for the same amount of yields they would be. Like, I'd like to know the breakdown.
I would assume they are. And then, some of them, they may, some of them are harvesting it, just whole shell corn.
Yeah.
Some of them may chop it for silage. It just depends.
Yep. Well, Jordan, I appreciate you writing in, man. Those are badass goals. I look forward to hearing at the end of the year if you hit those goals. I think you can do it. And you're in South Carolina. I was going to be in South Carolina in just a few weeks.
For Winter Strong?
Yeah, but I'm not going because we're actually going to go the following weekend to Louisville to the big farm show.
National
We're
Farm
going to
Show.
take the kids to the farm show. They get to miss a couple days of school and go. But yeah, Winter Strong is like February. It's the first or the second weekend in February. I was going to go this year, and I was like, I'm not going to. I would literally get home from Winter Strong and then go straight to Louisville. And I'm like, I don't like to travel but like one time a year. So that would have been too much traveling for me.
So my wife's trying to do a snow skiing trip, and I love snow skiing. And we hadn't been in, I don't know if we've been since my son's been born. We've never taken the kids. I just got to see. We got some friends that are going, and I think they're going for a full week. And I'm like, man, I don't want to just be like, hey, y'all, we'll go, but we're gonna, we're gonna fly back before y'all do. But
Yeah.
because it'll be right in the middle of calving.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
I've got some
You're like, baby, you married a cowboy.
you got I got some good people that can watch things for me, but like, man, it's one thing when they're just having to just basically make sure everything's, and they're like, no, like, hey, you got to watch, like, there might be.
You might have to put her, if she prolapses, you might have to push that thing back in while we're gone.
Yeah, you just ruined the trip for me. Because I just hate the fact that I won't be there when just healthy calves are being born and there's no problems.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
They're going to call you and be like, man, her asshole is hanging out. What do we do with this thing?
yep.
Just take your arm and shove it up in there.
That's when I'm calling my dad and my brother and being like, oh, buddy, have a big, big favor to ask.
Yeah. Well, Jordan, appreciate you writing in, man. I'm curious. If you're familiar with Sornex, that's who Winter Strong is. If you're in South Carolina, I feel like you would, but I don't know what.
Made in USA company?
Made in USA company. Badass group of guys over there. Good guys. All right, Tyler, we got like two more. We got to get to these. Hell, we're
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Tyler writes in, hi, I'm part of the planning committee for the Rendezvous City Beef Roundup. It is a steak tasting competition in Riverton, Wyoming. Now, that sounds like a hell of a good competition right there. Please check out beefroundup.com. That's the site. Go check it out. This year, we have an open division for producers outside of Wyoming. The winner of the open division will be crowned the best beef in the West. That's a hell of a title. We have a chef prepare all the steaks separately, but they are all cooked exactly the same. This is a true tasting competition. We also have several carnivore diet experts and influencers that host talks about the importance of having more beef in our diets. People like Dr. Anthony Chaffee, the plant-free MD, Dr. Robert Kiltz, Dr. Lisa Weidman, Bella Ma, that's the Bella Steak and Butter gal, Jake Thomas, Life Like Jake, and Mike Calicrate, and many more. Would you be interested in having me on your show? We'll look into it, man. We might want to talk to you about that.
Yeah. I thought he was going to say Anthony Fauci there for a second.
That might have been, that took a turn for sure, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Dr. Anthony
Chaffee.
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 Yeah. It's really close to
Anthony Fauci, Dr. Fauci.
I get the feeling looking at Fauci, he doesn't eat nearly enough beef.
Yeah, he looks a little malnourished to me.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah, man, we'll look into it. We'll look up this beef roundup and check it out.
Yeah, I'm on the website right now.
I'll make a note. All right, Marcus writes in, He says, Marcus is a longtime listener. I recognize the name. Hey, guys, question for Bobby Lee. We run a cow-calf operation here in Middle Tennessee. What is your recommendation on a vaccine protocol from newborn calves to weaned and also cows? We have typically used a dewormer like Sidectin, Triangle 10 for cows, and Covexin for calves. Look forward to the show every Friday. Thank you guys for giving your time to help others.
I like all that. I would do on my calves, I would do so the Triangle 10 is going to be your respiratory, but it's going to be a killed virus with lepto, which lepto is good for your cows. Typically you're worried about like abortions, during pregnancy as a result of that infection. So lepto vaccine, not really important for your steer calves or for your heifers that aren't going to be replacements. But yeah, for those calves at weaning, the Covexin's a great blackleg or clostridial vaccine. And then we hit them with, I've been using the Bovilus Nasalgen, which is an intranasal vaccine. Bovishield Gold is another one we've used in the past, but I do like the modified live vaccine for those calves that, really should do it before we wean them. A lot of times, I'm like everybody else. It's just when you get them up. So you might be doing it at weaning. You just get a little better immune response from that modified live vaccine. Sidextin is a great pour-on. When I'm using a pour-on, that's usually the one I'm using. We do use the long-range injectable dewormer a lot of times on our Stalkers, just because it has a little longer, kind of residual activity.
Yeah.
Think of it like that. But my cows, and I don't worry, cows, your adult animals, you don't really have to worry about the Covexin on them or them catching blackleg. So my cows, when we run them through, of course, a lot of times we're preg checking, we'll deworm them with a pour-on. We'll hit them with something like Triangle. And then calves, vaccinating with, one of those modified live respiratory vaccines and that Covexin. Which Covexin you couldn't get for a while. But I've used other blackleg vaccines. But yeah.
All right. There you go.
That's pretty good. Yeah, Marcus has been a loyal listener for a while.
Yep. I believe I got his hat.
I have one. Yep. Trying to think. I didn't elk hunt in it because I had to wear an orange hat, but I was wearing it for parts of my elk hunt when I wasn't actually on the rifle kind of thing.
Nice hats, man. Good question, Marcus, and hope that answered it. If not, right back out. All right, last one. Kelly writes in, I have always heard of your podcast, but didn't start listening to it regularly until this fall.
Damn you. Damn you. What, you can make it up by leaving us a rating and a review.
That's right. And I appreciate that she's always heard of our podcast.
Yeah, that is really, you have really good friends.
You do. Love the conversations and the energy you all have created. The show is both entertaining as well as educational, plus the fact that you all push the envelope here and there makes me laugh. We do. And I feel like we probably did talking about Billy Bob's daughter in the show already today. I work for the Kentucky Center for Ag and Rural Development, KCARD. We are an independent nonprofit that works with agriculture businesses of all shapes and sizes to develop business plans, create financial projections, and grant facilitation. I've also worked as an ag chem rep in North Dakota, so have experience with both very large-scale ag, middle-of-the-road, and very niche marketing. I appreciate your honesty about how diversifying and looking outside of the normal ag industry is important. My husband, kids, and I are working to transition to my parents' farm, and the big question is, what are we going to do to keep this going? I grew up raising cattle, tobacco, row crops, and pumpkins. My dad has been row cropping since I left for the college 15 years ago, but I agree with you all. Row cropping is not the long-term solution. Not sure what the solution is yet, but just wanted to send a note to say I appreciate you all being honest with listeners and encouraging them to think outside the box, but also to be honest with themselves and what they can realistically manage. Love what you're doing, and if there's anything we can help here in Kentucky, let me know. Appreciate the time, Kelly. Kelly, appreciate the message. Love that. I love to hear that.
That sounds like a really good program. And I know we have some resources in Tennessee. I don't know that we have anything
as awesome as that.
Yeah, quite exactly like that. I know, of course, obviously there's a lot of grants out there and whatnot. Maybe some federal. I know there's a bunch within the state within the Tennessee Ag Enhancement Program, or if you want to get into some of these niche and alternative ag type spaces. But as far as, yeah, and we've got, of course, your extension agent and people like that can kind of help you out. But I don't know that we have a program specifically just aimed at that specific. So that is neat.
That is, yeah. When I was reading that, I'm like, man, I wish we had. I mean, to build you a business plan, financial projections, and the grant thing, because there's a lot of grant opportunities and things out there that you just don't know anything about.
And Kentucky's a pretty cool ag state. It's I kind of think of a lot of Kentucky, kind of like Middle Tennessee. It's a little more rolling hills, and whatnot, and a lot of cattle. I guess you get into the real western part of the state. It's not much different than West Tennessee. It's right there, kind of in the Mississippi River Delta, in the extreme western part. But Kentucky's a pretty cool ag state. Of course, they got all the bourbon industry. And that's,
we're fans of that
right here. But I don't know. A lot of cattle up there. Big cow-calf state, and stocker background are kind of like we are.
Yep. Well, Kelly, appreciate that write in. That's awesome. Don't hesitate to write in, and hey, if you happen to know any resources for grant facilitations in Tennessee, I'd love for you to share that information, and we'll pass that along to our listeners here as well.
I think I shared it. I sent a tractor to Kentucky a couple weeks ago.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, all right. And you got our man tonight. That's our questions for now. As I said,
next week is our last week where he's officially our commander-in-chief.
I feel like we just got to keep him going.
Yeah, we need to get him on the board.
Yeah, that's one of our goals for this year. That is an unmet goal
like
of 24
months to get it done. Don't need to be in any kind of a rush or anything.
No. But guys, go if you enjoy. I love the questions that we get and just the write-ins. We love to hear from y'all. I mean, literally, we love to hear from you guys. Go to talkdirtpodcast.com, the contact page, and submit on there.
Start off with 2 words: made in America.
All right.
I paused it before he went.
Did it again? Yeah. Sometimes Joe gets confused and he repeats himself.
He just keeps going and going.
Yeah. Now you even brought this in studio.
Yes. For we like the little. We appreciate all our listeners, but for our YouTube audience, sometimes y'all get a little surprise. So not gonna whack you over the head like what's the guy in Home Alone? The dude that sweeps the thing out there. I can't remember what they call him. But that's a really colorful snow scoop you got there. It's red, white, and blue.
That is. Oh, I see the blue in there. Yeah.
Made in USA, baby.
Very large at the all-American snow dozer.
Yeah. And now, admittedly, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it's still got the stickers and all on it. So I have not used it yet. So I'm breaking one of our rules. Bigfoot
Snow Tools.
Yeah, it's made
got the Bigfoot on there.
I'm about to knock something off the wall. It's made by the Emsco Group, EMSCO. Their website is emscogroup.com. But
there in Pennsylvania.
All American made snow shovel, which it
feels pretty sturdy.
Yeah, and it's light. But when our vet clinic, we will be open tomorrow. A lot of people are like, oh, y'all won't be here on Friday. Like, no, we will. Like, we have never not been there. We have patients that are there, even if they're boarding. So
yeah,
we will be there in some way, shape, or form tomorrow. Probably closing a little early so everybody can get home before it gets dark. But we always get out there. Usually, my brother and I. Yeah, and sometimes we may open a little late, but try to get out there before we open and
scoop it off.
We've always used a corn scoop. It's always what we've used, which works pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But I was at the feed store today and I saw the snow shovels over there. Of course, they're peddling all. The snow melt, bags of salt or whatever, and little space heaters and sleds, which I'm on the shit list of my wife because I didn't get a sled bought for my kids. And we love our local hat ads. Dadgummit, they're sold out.
Sold out of sleds.
She's been telling me all week you need to pick up a sled for the kids. And I'm like, yeah, I will.
Now you're going to take the hood.
I was going today.
You're going to take the hood off your service truck or something and pull them around.
Yeah, so, but anyway, I was in the feed store today and I saw those and they had 2 different shovels there. And I was like, it really would be nice for us to have an actual snow shovel. And then when I walked over and saw that the Emsco, what do they call that?
The snow dozer.
The snow dozer, the Bigfoot snow dozer was made in USA. I was like, take my money.
Yep. Yep.
Reasonably priced, very reasonably priced. But yeah, I will be trying it out here in about a little over 12 hours.
I was going to say, 12 or so hours, yep.
I'll be there, hopefully by about 7:30 tomorrow morning, shoveling the sidewalk off. So those of you in our area that have hopefully you're not getting out just for,
just get out and go by and see Bobby Lee.
I'm always amazed at people that like show up just for like their vaccine visit. I'm like, buddy, this could have waited till next week. Like, appreciate you coming in because we're here and I'm paying people to be here. We got the lights on. I've got bills to pay, but you kind of expect, right? We're just going to see like urgent care stuff tomorrow.
Yeah.
But no, they're willing inevitably. Probably the very first people there in the morning will be like, yep, just need to get my rabies shot. That's all I want. I don't even want the heartworm test or anything else. Just the rabies shot, just the minimum. But
hey, they're dedicated.
Well, you got. When on the snow days, you got all kinds. You got the people that will not get out for anything other than an absolute dire emergency.
Yep.
The people that'll, like, okay, I'll get out to do reasonable stuff. And then you got the people that are like, I'm getting out just because by golly, I got a 4-wheel drive pickup. This is the shit I was born. They're going to get out even more so than they maybe normal. Like maybe they weren't going to need to go to town tomorrow.
I've almost fallen into that category.
And I'm a redneck. I'll admit it, certainly in some ways. But yeah, you're just like, but like my wife and kids, they will not leave the house tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Like, and usually, like when we have some snow, especially if it hangs around for several days, because I told her, I'm like, just don't. There's no reason to. Like, you don't need to get out. Like, and not that she can't drive on the snow. Like if there was an emergency and she had to leave, she obviously would. Her SUV is all-wheel drive, but yeah, I'm just like, why? But yeah, a lot of times, especially when we get in one of those patterns where we're so cold it doesn't melt for several days, eventually she'll be like, damn it, we're going to eat Mexican tonight just because I got to get out of the house.
That cabin fever.
I'll be out of the house no matter what. I got a set of cabs up the road I have to go check anyway, but no, the office will be open. Maybe abbreviated hours tomorrow, but yeah, I'll be there and I'll be using an American made snow shovel.
Nice. All right, guys, y'all check that out. While y'all are checking that out, go to agzaga.com. Check out what you got on there. They got all kinds of stuff you can get. Look around. I'll still get you some more toys.
Hey, and which, of course, for this storm, it's going to be too late. But my brother, actually, he ordered last year. I can't remember what brand, but it's one of those forced air big-ass heaters.
Oh, yeah.
From them. And he said that sucker, because they ran it the other day in their barn. He's like, oh, yeah, it was about to run you out of there.
Yeah. Nice. Did he use our code?
He better have.
I was going to say, yeah.
He doesn't. My brother's cheap. He ain't going to pay full
That's
price.
True. That is true.
But, hey, this won't be the last snowstorm of the year. Won't be the last, cold spell. They got anything you need.
Yeah, they do.
If they don't have it, you don't need it. Maybe other than firearms.
Yes. Maybe they'll get that one day.
We can talk to Anthony about it. Hey.
Yeah, we can. All right, guys.
Things shipped to your FFL.
Or just ship them to my house. I'd be good with that. All right, y'all, leave us a rating and review. Like I said, send this episode or one of your favorite episodes to one friend. That's all we ask. We're going to ask you to send it to one friend. Or two. Yeah, if you feel just like, damn, that was good, send it to 20 friends. I don't care. Send it to however many people, but at least send it to one friend. Help us out. Let's grow this thing so we can really push the envelope so we can take down the big 4 meat packers.
Yeah. For those of you like between here and like Dallas, just can't kind of path that storm. Hey, thoughts and prayers. 6 inches of snow, we're all gonna die. Yes. Although I did just check the National Weather Service, like on X, they now have us in a little darker shaded area where earlier we were like right on the edge of the 4 to 6 to 6 to 8. Now we're like firmly in the 6 to 8 inch category. So hey, we heck, you never know. We might end up wake up with a foot of snow. Well, it don't think it'll be that much when we wake up. But by the time it's gone by early afternoon tomorrow, we might have a foot.
It may be. I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. Y'all stay warm. We'll catch you next week.
Yep.